Hello and good morning, everyone. This is Sue from Sue's Paper Creations, and I am here with a little card tutorial for a technique for you today. We are going to be rolling out some cards. I have brought out the Brayer to play with today, which some of you may have a Brayer in your actual craft room, but you may not have used it, or you don't use it that often. So I wanted to bring out the Brayer and do a little brayering and some textures and create some fun cards this morning. So I hope you guys are having a good morning. I just got back from a walk with Jim. It is 10 o'clock here on the West Coast, and it is going to be, I think, in the 30s today. So we figured we better kind of quickly get him out. We walk him in an area that's very shaded, which is nice, and before it gets too hot, because he's a very furry big guy and it's too hot to walk him in the sun, right? So anyways, that's where I've been this morning. So I'm still got my hat on from walking, but I'm here and I'm excited to create with you. We are day 22 of 25 days of lives. Yeah, like flying by, and we're going to do a little technique today. I've got out some pretty embossing folders, and we're going to have some fun with doing some masking, doing some brayering, and doing some texturing. So it's kind of like a little multi technique, but it's really going to be pretty, I think. And then as for how we finish off these cards, I'm going to let you guys help me out. I have got behind me my rainbow bucket of card bases ready to go. I've got my water to wash off my brayer between colors, and I've got a few things I've got some color combinations I want to work with. Okay, so I'm excited to get started. Hello, Monica, Linda, and Lynn. Thank you guys for joining me. I know I am during the day on a Monday, and for the lives, I've been trying to do them kind of early evening, but this week, as you saw in my post, it's going to be different times. So today we're 10. Yesterday we were early because I had my live Zoom class. Tonight I have got my live in-person class, which I'm excited about. But tomorrow I will be 6:30 as well as the following day. Okay, so we're going to go back to evenings tomorrow. All right, but I'm glad some of you can join me during the day. This is great. And if you're watching the replays, I think yeah, you may be. I'm trying to encourage you to pull the old Brayer out of the drawer and make some fun cards with it. Okay, so let's head on down to my workspace, where all I've got is some white paper ready to go here. So for today, I was looking through just some cards that I had done, bits and pieces over the past. You may have remembered that, you know, I went away for a little weekend, and I used up all my scraps to make some fun cards. Well, one of the cards that I created was using, I had already had the background in my bucket of treasures, and then I finished off the card, and this is what it ended up looking like. Isn't that cute? So what we're going to do today is we're going to have some fun. We're going to do some brayering of colors across our card bases. I've got a whole bunch of different color combinations. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to just decorate it up with different elements. So it's just a different way to do a background. We're going to, there's an order to it. We're going to kind of mask things off as we brayer, and then we are going to texture that piece, and I've got some fun textures to choose from, and then we're going to add some elements onto the card after. Okay, so that is the plan for today. So I hope you guys enjoy this. It's going to be, yeah, just fun to get my brayer out. I have not used a brayer for, oh my gosh, it's probably been over a year. I already had this piece done, and I have a couple other ones that have different backgrounds as well. I'll pull those out and I will post them as well as our final cards today. Okay, but that's kind of where we're going today. It's gonna be a fun little brayering session. Okay, yeah, I'm glad that so many of you can join me from near and far. It was fun, wasn't it, Linda? Hey, it was a great class, and I'm glad you got to connect with everybody in there. It was perfect. And we made a bunch of beautiful cards, that's for sure. Okay, hello, Michelle. All right, everybody's hopping in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with just some fun color combinations. I'm going to get out my different ink pads. I do have water to rinse off my brayer because I do have to kind of wash it in between each color that I use. So I'm going to start with some different color combinations. I thought I would give some of the in colors here. We've got Darling Duckling, Strawberry Slush, and Timid Tiger. So I'm going to give those three a brayer across. And these colors, we have our in color sale on right now. So these three colors I think are going to be beautiful together. So I wanted to see what they look like. And then from there, you guys are going to help me choose a texture that I'm going to run through. And then for this one, I think I'm going to use the cheers and sips. We're going to put some cute little drinks and stuff on this card. And then I've got one we're going to do some butterflies on with another set of colors. And I even thought I might bring out my little toadstools and put some toadstools on one. Okay, so let's have some fun with it. I'm going to grab my little Post-it notes. I had my measurements from class yesterday. This piece that I'm using is 5 by 3.5. So I want to, about maybe just over 1.5 inches is what I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to be starting by just layering off, and I was going to just kind of eyeball it, but I'll use my, let's turn over, I'll use my grid here, and I will go just over 1.5 inches, and I'm going to mask it. Okay, and I'm just using Post-it notes. I'm not getting out the old masking paper. I'm just using some Post-it notes because, I mean, everyone has Post-it notes, right? So it's easy to use. Order wise, I think I'm going to put, let's see, should we go Strawberry Slush in the middle? That might be pretty. Do we go light to dark? Or do we go yellow in the center? That might be pretty. I think I'm going to go yellow in the center. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. All right, so we're going to start with the brayer. If you have not used, do we have anyone who has not brayered before? That's the big question. Like I said, it's been a while for me. Got to get warmed up. But the rules of the brayer is you're going to be running the brayer over your ink pad. You want to make sure that when you do it, that you roll it all kind of in one direction. So you roll it, pick it up, roll it again. If you go back and forth, especially if you just go back and forth a little bit, then what you may end up doing is you end up getting the exact same spot on the brayer the whole time. So you want to make sure you have even coverage over the brayer. Okay, let's see here, and I just got my brayer out. Love it. Good, good, good. Okay, light to dark. Never done it. This is perfect. Not me. I love this. So there is a few of you who have never used a brayer before. Okay, so we're going to start, and I'm going to roll just like this. So I'm rolling it across, picking it up, rolling it across, picking it up. Now, you can see all of the ink beading up on here. I'm gonna get a scrap actually. Let's see. I know I've got a scrap because I want to see how heavy this is going to be. I need a scrap piece of paper. Okay. I'm grabbing one out of my recycle bin here. Okay. And you can see how it puts the color across. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to ink it up. And again, rolling across. These are all going to be super juicy ink pads because they are brand new. The Strawberry Slush I've used quite a bit, but the Darling Duckling I haven't. So we'll see how these go. I may have to ink it up a couple times, but you get a more solid ink coverage than you would with your brushes. It's just a different look. So I wanted to let you guys see what this looks like. Okay, so I'm going to start with off the page and just start going across. Okay, and you just apply your ink, roll it on, and then you just start going across your paper. Okay, and I like to brayer in one direction, but you can, if you know, go back and forth like this if you want to, but you do tend to kind of see the lines of it. So I like to keep it kind of in one direction. Okay, so up here I still need to get, and I just want to make sure I'm not going to go over my Post-it notes, right? And you can see the color. So I am going to go in a little bit this way, and it's because the Post-it note's a little thicker, but I want to make sure I get up close. Okay. All right, so lots of concentration of color, but it looks really pretty. Okay, so there is our orange, and you can see how dark that is. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go just to the side of this, so I have a little bit of overlap like that, and I'm using my same Post-it note, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to Post-it note on this side, and I'm just eyeballing it. We're winging it today. Winging it with colors. Okay, like that. And I'm going to bring in my next color. Okay. Now, because there is ink on here, I do have some paper towel that I have dipped in some water, and I need to get that ink off of the roller before I go on to the new color, right? Because you don't want all this ink to get on your ink pad. So you do want to make sure that you clean it in between. So I'm just going over with a little bit of water. I'm surprised my hands aren't bright orange yet. That's pretty good. Okay, then I'm gonna go in with the Darling Duckling. And again, new ink pad, it's gonna have tons of ink on it. Okay, here we go. We're going in. Okay. Oh, hold on. I gotta make sure. I got it upside down. There. Okay. So we're gonna roll with our yellow. Like this. Oh, keep it level. And I'm gonna switch it over to a slightly different. My glass mat is so solid that I think I need to have a little bit more give in behind. So I might put a rubber mat underneath. I think that's gonna make a difference. Okay, then I'm gonna pull this one. And you know what? I want the yellow to go a little bit farther. So I'm gonna add a little bit more yellow before I add the pink in, I think. We're going to go like this. We're going to add a little bit more. Now, I do have a rubber mat, and I'm going to try putting this underneath. We're going to see how this changes it. Okay, that's going to give it a little bit more give, which I think is what I want. I have not used my brayer on with the glass mat in behind it before, and it's so solid that it doesn't have as much give to it. for the brayer, because it's a rubber brayer, right? Okay, so let's see here. Yeah, that makes a difference. Huge difference. Okay, so it just gives a little bit of give. So we can see our solid color there. Okay, now I'm going to just add that direction, and now I'm going to do the strawberry slush. So as you can see, a lot of concentration of color going on the paper compared to if you were to just use your blending brushes, right? Does it not creep under the Post-it note? It is a little bit, but I'm okay with that. I mean, I could use the actual masking paper, which may make it so it doesn't do that. But I'm going to add some texture to this. You'll see. You're going to see how it turns out. Okay. All right. Now we're going to go with a little bit of strawberry slush. There. That's already working much better because, look at that. I've got just a silicone mat underneath my surface, and it's making it so that there's a little bit more give to the surface underneath, which is making the brayer work better. See how much easier that was than when we did the first two colors, right? So learn from me. Okay. Look at that. So pretty. Now I can see I've got a little bit of color in between. If you want to kind of go in and creep it up a little bit, get rid of some of that, you can. I'm going to bring the Post-it note, and I am going to bring it in just a little bit. I want them to cross over slightly. I don't want any white in there. And now that I've got my silicone mat underneath, it'll be easier to do that. So I'm going to bring in the Post-it notes, and I just want to get rid of that white space. Okay, this is our warm-up combo, like that. And I'm going to bring it together just a little bit more. There we go. There, that got rid of it. Perfect. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to run it through a texture. Okay, so I think for this one, we're going to go with the kind of, I think we're going to go with some tropical drinks. I'm going to do the soft waves, I think is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to pop this in, and I'm going to run it through the soft waves. Okay, just like that. So let me grab the texture. We'll run it through. Okay, and then look what we've got. So we've got some gorgeous waves in there, and we've got our brayer. Like, it's just a quite a concentration of color, right? It takes a little bit of warming up to get the feel of the brayer and the feel of it with your surface. Like I said, I hadn't used it with a glass mat, so it didn't get the concentration as well, but once we got on the silicone mat, it made a difference. So you can see the difference between the orange and the pink really got concentrated. So you can use lighter colors if you want rather than darker. If you don't want it to be so dark, just know that you are going to get a greater concentration than you are with your brushes, that's for sure. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to pull in, let me see what I want to bring into this. I've got all sorts of little pieces, and I've got some little drinks that we can cut out to add to it. I've got a Let's Celebrate. I've got a little lemonade. I've got I'm going to do some, I think, some big drinks. Like, I think this would be cute, as well as, let's see if I have some big ones cut out already. I've got lots of little tiny drinks already cut out, so we will use those. And I think we'll just do a circle with a whole bunch of little tiny drinks with it. Maybe one little large one. Let's see. I think we'll go with, my goodness, see, look at all the colors. Maybe we'll go with like a little tropical one, or maybe this one here. Okay, so I'm gonna grab my little scissors and we're gonna do some cutting, and we're gonna make some little elements that go in here. So I'm gonna see what goodies I've got in this bag, because I do have some cut out. And we're gonna see which ones we want to use. Like, look at all of these little tiny drinks that are cut out of the paper. And then we've got this one, I think would go well. So we've got a few that are already cut. I think I'll use the rounded ones. And I'm going to use a little tiny white backdrop. So we'll go with maybe a circle or a square. Maybe we'll do a little square on this one. Okay, and we'll just add a few little elements. So I'm going to add, let's see here. Maybe I do want a lemonade jug with, or sangria. Maybe we'll do sangria, like a little jug and little glasses. I'm going to cut this one out here. Perfect. So later on today, I did have, my registration did fill up for September for Card Club for the kits. So I am trying to be patient. I'm trying. It's taking a little bit for me to wait for all of my products from the new holiday catalog to arrive. So they will be hopefully arriving, I think it will be today or tomorrow. And then in there is all my goodies for Christmas. So for the months of October and November, they are going to be holiday themed classes. So I'm excited about that because I love the holidays. We're going to do a whole bunch of little glasses for the sangria. Look at all of these. They're so cute. Okay. I'm going to see how many I've got of these little glasses. Perfect. Just pulling them all together here. But yeah, it'll be holiday themed, which is exciting. I can't believe we're already there. But it is coming up quick, right? Okay, so let's put one little tiny, or the jug, and then I'm going to put some little glasses beside it. I'm going to get out my dimensionals, and I just want to see, I might do a tall glass, do a little tiny glass, like look at this one, and then I'll pop out the glasses on the jug. So I'm going to go flat with the jug, I think. Let's see, any questions so far? Let me see. It is pretty colors, isn't it? And what's going to make it beautiful is when we figure out which card base we're going to put it on. And I think I will add a little bit of a white frame, and then we will add in our colored card base. And we can pick like any of these colors, or even a lighter tone, which I think would be pretty. So we can decide what we want to do with that. So we're going to go a tall one, I think, over here. There it goes. And then we're going to do some little tiny ones. just kind of line them up here like this. Let's see, I'm going to do one up here. Over this way maybe. And then we'll do one more little tiny one. I don't want a little sprig there. I want a strawberry. That'll be cute right there. So a few little drinks. We've got a little tiny mini strawberry that I'm going to also add. And these are all just little images that are cut out of the celebratory SIPs papers. So there's that. Okay, that looks pretty cute. Now we're going to do a little let's celebrate, and I'm going to put that, I'm going to put it across here like this, I think. And I'm going to put a little It's Your Day up here, and then let's celebrate. So let's grab SIPs and okay. So we're going to get out the It's Your Day, and I'm going to stamp that right on it, or Cheers. Let's see what will fit. No, the Cheers is too big. So we're going to do the It's Your Day. And then we'll do Let's Celebrate. So I'm going to stamp this one right on, like here. Oh, hold on. I got a little piece of paper there. Perfect. We're going to do this one here. It's Your Day. And then we are going to pop up the Let's Celebrate. We were celebrating Sarah and Katie's birthday just yesterday. We had everybody over for a little barbecue. And yeah, it was fun. Their birthdays are actually officially tomorrow. But we thought that we would bring everybody together on a beautiful day in the backyard. So we had a little barbecue. And I made a favorite that me and the girls, because they're 29 now, coming up tomorrow. But we made a favorite of homemade brownies for dessert. And growing up, one of our favorite things to do, I'm going to put it across here, I think, was to make homemade ice cream. So Lance and I went and picked blackberries the night before, and I put together homemade blackberry ice cream. It was so good. So good. I haven't made homemade ice cream for a while. Probably last time was when, well, it's been a couple years. They were still here, so they haven't lived here, both of them, for a while. But yeah, we had a good time. All right, so I'm going to put that in the center of all our colors. And we've got some waves in there. Okay, now we're going to frame it in, which is really going to make it pop. So I'm going to get some white, and like, we have a choice. We could do just a white card base like this, or we could, I thought it might be nice to bring in almost like a corally piece like that, which isn't quite as bright as this, so all the colors still stand out, but then frame it in with a little bit of white. So I'm just going to cut into this card base, and we're going to make it a little bit smaller. Okay, let's go for it. We're going to go, that's 3.5. I'm going to go, see here, by 5. We're going to go 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's see what this looks like. Oh yeah, I like that. I like the little bit of white on there because it just makes it pop a little bit more. That is quite cute. And then we're going to add some embellishments. So I'm going to add this on flat, and then I'm going to pop up the actual brayered piece. That's perfect. We're going to pop that up. And we've got a bright, very bright, bold background with some texture. And then some fun little drinks on it. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Now we need a little tiny bit of bling, so I'm going to add some sparkle. And I think I'm going to use the, let's see here what I've got. If I can find it, there's the iridescent, which would bring out kind of all the colors, or maybe the strawberry, like these colors here. This is the strawberry slush and petal, pretty in pink, but I'm thinking that just, again, you've got a little bit of gold and stuff in here. And I think these might be a nice touch. So I could do the strawberry slush and it will end up being right on there. We're going to do one right about here, and then we'll do a couple over here, tone on tone, like that. Okay, just add a little sparkle in there. Do we have an ice cream machine? We do. We have, again, it is an old one. It's one of those 2-quart, I think it's a Cuisinart. It's a square machine. Like, we bought this machine probably 15 years ago. And when they were younger, we would make ice cream. So we would pick blackberries or, you know, strawberries. We used to have like raspberries and blackberries and stuff all growing in the backyard before we redid the backyard. But yeah, we would blend up all the berries, and you gotta get all the seeds out of them, right? And then you mix it with your cream and your sugar and all that good stuff. And then you just pop it in the machine and you let it go for 20 minutes, and then you have the most amazing homemade ice cream. So it is a good machine. It works really well, and I couldn't believe that it was still working. I pulled it out, dusted it off, and it was still working. So that's what we had. Okay, so there is the first brayered background. So that was our little warm-up, but it's fun to kind of pull all the colors together, and adding a little bit of texture definitely helps when you've got a brayered background. Okay, so there's that one. Now what we're going to do is we are going to switch it up with a different color combination. So I've done these 3. I want to bring in a pretty butterfly. So I'm going to do, let's see here, what color is my butterfly? Yeah, I'm going to bring in yellow, blue, and green. And then I'm going to put a beautiful butterfly on it. Okay, so I've got my butterfly all ready to go. And these are the colors that we're going to try next. They're more similar to these colors, which were on the original background that I did. And this was an old texture that we had. So that tells you how long ago I did this one. It was quite some time ago, but it's just such a pretty classic colors. I love yellows and blues and greens. Blues and greens are my favorite. So we're going to play with these ones, and I'm going to just wipe off my brayer. And this is going to be a more subtle color. Okay. So I'm just wiping down the brayer here first. Okay. Now I have done some brayering where, you know, you take the time and you blend it color to color. And that's, I mean, this one I'm masking it off, but if you do it kind of side by side and do it color to color, you get the colors blend together as you do it. And I've done like silhouette cards where you've done skylines, and then green, and then a little bit of muddy brown, and you mask it off, and then you do just kind of a blue color, and it looks like trees, and then you stamp, you kind of reverse stamp, and you just press a little bit of the image onto the bottom half of the card, and it looks like silhouette in water. So you can do some really cool stuff with your brayer, and I'll try and do a little bit more, you know, over the next few months or so, because I think that it would look pretty with almost like a winter scene over water. I'm going to see what stuff we have coming up. And we'll see what we can do. Okay. There's some things that just work and some that don't. So you got to have an idea in mind. So for this one, I'm just debating on whether or not, I think I am still going to mask it a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to put my ink on this corner of the brayer, and I'm just going to just start adding the color, and then I am going to mask it off, this side off a little bit as I brayer it, and we'll see what we can do with just doing the colors without so much of post-it notes. We're going to see. Okay, so I'm going to start with putting it just on the one side here. And this is Balmy Blue. So again, I am inking it up from the bottom all the way across. So therefore I'm getting the ink everywhere on the brayer. And I'm going to put it this direction. Okay. And see the difference of how that went on so much smoother now that we switched over onto a little bit of silicone matte. So it is going to have a softer look if you have something soft underneath. So what I've got is I have got a silicone rubber just matte that I've got underneath my work surface. Before I was doing it straight over top of the glass, and there's just not enough give to it. So you definitely want to have something with a little bit of give, and you can see this is getting a more softer look than what we had before. Okay, I like that. I like the softer look. Okay, now I wanted to actually, I'm going to do a little bit more blue. I want to bring it in a little bit. I'm going to bring it in just a little bit more. And I can do that by just kind of moving the brayer. Like as I go, I can move it up the paper a little bit, and you can get variation in color. It's not such a stark line. Okay. Yeah, I like that. Now, I am going to, because I do have, of course, I'm going to start here and I'm going to go naturally over it again, but I am going to take a piece of paper and I'm just going to just cover this up because I don't want to get the ink down on this side yet. So I'm going to wipe off my brayer, because you got to wipe it in between. Let's get a paper towel again. And I'm going to get rid of the blue because I'm going to be going into green. Okay. What do I use to wipe my brayer? I'm using paper towel and a little bit of water. You could run it over like you're stamping chamois, but you're going to end up with so much color concentrated in there. If, you know, I wasn't doing a live, I would even probably just go into the bathroom, rinse it under the tap with water, and then dry it off before I do the next color. But I don't want to be running back and forth out of the room, so I'm just using just a damp paper towel. Okay, now I want a really light piece of paper, so I'm going to get a piece of photocopy paper. Okay, so instead of masking off with post-it notes, you can just kind of go like this. Okay, and then we're going to get our green. And again, I'm going to keep it on just one edge of the brayer, rolling it from one side across. I think I just re-inked this one. This is going to be a juicy a juicy ink pad. Let's see. We're going to go about like that. Okay. And I'm just going to start. And I'm going to work it. Hold on. Let's get my brayer off to the side. Yeah, this was just inked up. So if you just inked up your brayer, you're going to have a lot more concentration in color than if you did not. I'm just going to take a little bit off. Okay. I want to get it lighter up towards the top of the blue. Okay. I'm going to bring it up just a little bit more. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going to blend it a little bit. Okay. All right, so now I've got a little bit of green in there, and I'm going to go in with my yellow down this side. Debating whether I want a little bit more green. I'm going to let it run with the yellow, and we're going to see what happens. We're going to blend the yellow without masking off anything, okay? Okay, let's do it. I'm going to get rid of this. Okay. Now we're going to do yellow. And then I have to decide on which texture I'm actually going to use over top of these colors. Okay, so I'm going to go with the yellow. And I'm going to bring the yellow up a little bit. And I'm just going to roll the yellow like right across. And kind of work it a little bit. So you can definitely see how you get a different concentration of color with a brayer than you do with your sponges. You just do. You get that darkness that you can't get with your sponge unless you're really using your Stampin' sponges and you're going over a ton, but you don't get as smooth as you would with the roll. It's like painting basically with a roller, right? A mini roller. Okay. So for this one, I thought that it might be kind of cool to do the corrugated. Okay, we could do the corrugated. Mind you, we're going to do a butterfly. So maybe, do we want to do that texture? Or I kind of like the look of the corrugated on there. It's going to be different for butterfly, but we're mixing it up today. Because this mini corrugated folder is going to shrink up the width of the paper because this is the way that the texture is going. What I'm going to do is first I'm going to trim off just the tiniest bit off of the top because it's not going to shrink at the top of the paper, and by a bit I'm going to do just 1/8 of an inch. Okay, because that's about how much your paper is going to shrink when you put it through the corrugated texture. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to run this through, and then we'll finish putting our butterflies on this one. Okay. Okay, see, that's cool. Look at how that turned out. Not fun. I like it. I like it. Okay, that makes me happy. Okay, so now what I want to bring in is, these are the beautiful butterflies. And I'm going to bring in just a nice white clean butterfly, and then I'm going to bring in just a pretty blue overlay and a little gray center like that. Okay, so I'm going to glue these together, and then we'll put a pretty greeting on there, and then of course we will frame it up, which makes a huge difference once you get it framed up. So I want this butterfly, the tips of it to kind of curl just a little bit. So I'm going to add the glue more towards the center of the body. And then I'm just going to take my edges of the actual tips of the wings, and I'm going to curl them just a little bit like that. I'm going to put this over top. There, because then these kind of just pop out just a tiny bit. And then I'm going to add the body. Hello everyone who's just hopping in. Welcome. We are day 22 of 25 of our lives. I decided to dust off the brayer and play with the brayer a little bit. Takes a little bit to kind of get back into it and experiment with just how heavy you roll it, the concentration of colors. But you can see that, look at how solid that color coverage is, right? It is quite pretty. And then I'm going to add our little beautiful butterfly on there. I'm going to pop it out just, you know what? I'm going to put it down solid, I think, because we've got so much texture with the corrugation. And then I'm going to pop up a little greeting for it. We're going to go like that. And then I do have, let's see what I've got left over. I like to use my leftovers. And I do have a little tiny hello that I think I might just do a little tiny hello on here. Just like that, instead of putting a greeting across. I'm going to do just a hello. Just in the corner. Like that. Okay. Now we are going to have a look and see which color cardstock to put this on. So again, we've got like this big bucket of colors, and we can kind of just go through. If you haven't seen my bucket of colors, this is how I keep my card bases. I keep them away from the light because some people were concerned that stuff might start to fade, but I do keep them out of the light, and I go through like probably at least half a bucket every couple months. So I go through it quite quickly. Now let's see, is that Daffodil Delight or Crushed Curry? This one is Crushed Curry. So it's Crushed Curry, Old Olive, and Balmy Blue is for the backdrop for that. So I might do green to kind of frame it in like that, but I think we need a white section in there. I think this one I didn't have it though. So here's an original card that has the 3 different colors. These ones were lighter. This was Daffodil. I think this was way back. This is Pear Pizzazz, and this is, it's not Balmy Blue, but it was a different blue that we had that was lighter. So these are just from more of a subtle tone, so lighter tones. It still gives like some good concentration of color, but they're lighter, subtle colors, where this one is kind of our more medium tones, right? So it's not as light. The other option would be, we could go like a gray. Let's see here. More of kind of a grayish tone like that. That is actually Cloud Cover, and that looks quite pretty too. Or we could add a layer of white, which I do have. Let's see, we got leftover from what we just cut, and we could frame it in. Let's see what that looks like. I think it looks pretty just on the green, but it's nice to kind of sometimes have just the slightest amount of framing. So we'll go just 1/8 of an inch more. A gray frame would look nice too. But let's see what this looks like. Okay. So there is, oh, you know what? I didn't adjust for the shrinkage of the paper. That's why it's a little bit too wide. Okay. Let's see. That's more even. Yeah, that's better. And so see how that kind of frames it in just a little bit. And I like that. That's pretty with the white frame. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue this down. Love the sound that makes. Okay. A little bit of framing. Like that. And then we will pop this out. And we will add a little bit of embellishment. Thank you, Jen. Thanks for joining. It's one of my favorite color combos. You guys know if you've been watching me for a while, I love my greens and blues. One thing that you'll find with a brayer, I mean, sometimes it's harder to control how the ink goes down, but it's also one of those things where imperfections like this just add a little bit more character. And at first you think, oh no, that didn't like go solid color. But the variation in color is beautiful with a brayer, and you have that little bit of dotted texture throughout the blue. The yellow went on a little bit more solid. We got a little bit of it down here, but it just, you go over it, and you can take the white away and you can just get a lighter version over top. And I think it looks really pretty that way, right? So imperfections are okay. In fact, it adds to the character. So there's that one. Here's this one. And again, we've got a little bit of overlap, but we've got all the colors mixing in the drinks. So that works. There's those bright ones there. And then we need to add a little bit of sparkle to this one. I think these holographic dots might look quite pretty. And we could even do, debating on whether to put like a bow somewhere on the butterfly card, but I don't want to mess with the backdrop. I love the corrugation, so I think we'll leave it. And I'm going to use just these tiny little dots because I don't want anything too big. I'm just going to use the little mini ones. I'm going to put a couple there. I'm going to put one here. Maybe one, let's see here, 1 here, 1, 2, and I want one more. So I'm going to add, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and one maybe, I want to put this one up here. Yeah, we'll put it here, like that. Okay, so a little bit of speckle of shine, and same with this one over the colors. And you can see the texture is what really brings the cards to life. So you can brayer a background, but if you add, like this is a larger texture that we had, if you add some texture to it, it just adds another depth. It wouldn't look the same if it wasn't corrugated, you know? I like that. Add some depth to it. So there you go. There is a couple of brayered backgrounds. We could see, we learned along the way, definitely add the silicone matte. It adds more of a softness to the brayered color, where this one was going on really, really solid because and sometimes harder to put down and control because it was on the glass mat. I was doing it on the glass mat. Okay, so I would go a little softness underneath, whether you have your mat, one of these Stampin' mats like this, or whether you just have a silicone mat. Works lovely. It just gives a little bit of give when you're working your brayer. Now I have got one more color combination. I'm going to give that a try, and I was thinking about maybe doing some flowers and stuff with it, and I will post that one when I post these, and you can see just a different color combination. Now that I've got it all, my whole space messed up with my brayer, I'm going to do some other color combos, and I'll post them in a little bit so you guys can kind of see what different looks, and I'll go different directions. Like you could go on a diagonal. You can do lots of different things, right? All right, so thank you guys for joining me. I have got one little card kit I'm going to give away for those that are still watching here. It is for the fun fold that creates these three right here. So here is our interlocking front here fun fold, and it has the pieces that will create all three of these cards. This one, your colors are going to vary because I used a whole package of designer series paper, so every package has a different color combination for that one, but these ones are very similar to what we've got here. And again, you can have some fun creating with a fun fold with one of my instructional videos. So I'm going to give this one, I've got one in here. Just got to make sure it's the exact same package. Let me check it out. I think it is for my July. So I have the video ready and it's ready to go. So whoever wins this one, I'm going to grab your address, pop it in the mail today, and then I will email you or message you the video. Okay, so this is July. So let's go for comment number 5. Okay, for those of you who are still here, if you want to pop a comment in. If you are from the States, I had someone who ended up getting one of the kits and they're in the States. I can send you the full instructional video so that you know how to make the cards, but I just can't send you the actual kit because it has products in it, right? So I can only ship my products within Canada, unfortunately. Okay, so let's see. We're going for 5, and it was Michelle that started us off. So Michelle's 1. We've got Diane 2, Kim 3, Gail 4. Michelle, you have win, win, win. Guess what? You won. So again, you'll have to let me know if you are within Canada. I can mail this out to you. If you are not within Canada, I can send you the full instructional video so that you will have the recipe and the directions on how to create the interlocking front card. I just can't send you the actual kit though. That's just rules, unfortunately. Let's see here. Let's see, Michelle. Yeah, so Michelle, message me, let me know where you are located, and we will figure out if you are in the US. In the US, I will figure out something for you. Okay, you'll at least get the directions. Another thing I wanted to let you know about for the paper share. Again, it's something that I can only, because I'm doing a full holiday and online exclusive paper share. It has so much stuff in it and I can't wait. It's all coming in a box that I'm waiting for. And then I will cut it all up and I will show you everything you get in the box. But again, it's something that I can only mail out within Canada. But in the description, there is a link and for the paper ribbon, and it's called Gold Shaker Star product share. I do have a link within that to my friend Lori Bradley, and she is in the US and she's going to do the exact same paper share. So if anyone would still like to get the paper share in the States, Michelle. Okay, so I will send you the PDF, okay? I'll send you the PDF. But if you're looking for a paper share and you like the paper share that I'm doing, yes, Lori from St. Louis. She's going to be doing the exact same paper share. So therefore, you guys will be able to get that paper share. Okay. All right. Okay, everyone. Stay cool if you're like me, and it's going to be a hot one today. I'm going to be in my craft room playing with a brayer. I got to try out different colors, and I will share with you what I end up making. Okay. Take care. See you tomorrow, 6:30. We are going to do a quick and fun card layout using your designer series paper. Then we're going to do the following night. We are going to do a one sheet wonder with a little 6x6. And then the next day we are going to do a waterfall card. Okay. So that's what you have coming up. I hope you will all join me, and we will see you tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Have a great day. Bye.